Hello, my name is Alexander Ermenkov. Today is 30th of May 2025 and I'm continuing my series Beyond Success Reality with Alex. Today I would like to speak about the reality of lies and how instead of trying to escape lies, instead of being afraid of lies, we are to embrace them and make them empower us. And it doesn't matter if the lies presented to us are beautifully made so that it looks like a beautiful dream. Short term and long term, it is going to be a big fat lie. The important part is how we deal with everything around us, and if we are sincere and honest in our hopes and what we are holding for and what we are dreaming about, then if the other side had different intentions, if there was an agenda behind these lies, it doesn't matter so much for our personal reality, because long term it is not our agenda, and long term we are going to use the maximum from what is presented before us, and it doesn't matter if the other parties and if the so-called structures had other agendas when they were presenting this type of lies. For example, when I was the third grade, this is the most vivid lie I know about, and it was the agenda. Through my history lessons, we were explained about how the societies of the world are going to go long-term into a communist utopian societies, and all the world is going to live a perfect, wonderful and happy lives long-term. I was so strongly embracing this type of communist society, utopian reality, and I was so happy that I was just living in this world where we, the human beings, know what we want, we know where we're heading, and we are so fair to each other. And I was embracing this type of lie then, and for me it was the most beautiful truth. And what happened 2 or 3 years later, the communism fell, and I realized that my biggest dream and what I was up to was a small or a big lie, depending on the different perspectives. But during this period of time, this type of lie really helped me, and I was eager to live. I was eager to develop myself because of this beautiful utopian society that was coming forward. Then, during the capitalist time in my country, Bulgaria, I was embracing so strongly the capitalism. I wanted to have a big dream of having a company. Maybe if I have a firm, if I have an organization, then I'm going to be happy. Then I'm going to embrace and to take everything out of capitalism, and I'm going to enjoy a very beautiful and wonderful life. And I was not thinking so much about society anymore, but I was thinking about how me as a person am going to develop myself and become a solopreneur. Of course, long term I achieved this goal, but anyhow, from time to time, when the time was passing, I realized that also this was in a sense a lie, because the human life is not only about achieving, it's not only about how we are spreading the wealth, and anyhow there is not anywhere in the world a pure form of capitalism, because the societies realized that if we just leave the ego of the human being to rule in our society, we are not going to experience a very nice and interesting and beautiful way of living. So this was my second life about the communism. And then I very vividly remember another lie that really helped me to grow and to understand about investments and finance, and in a sense it also happened because of a lie. When I was married, I was 25 years old, and then we didn't have anything. We had only dreams with my beautiful wife, and my father told me that if me and my wife as a family are able to start saving money, all the money that we save, he was going to add the same amount and he was going to give it as a gift for us. So it was a very inspiring message for me, and I really, me and my wife, started to save $100 every month, and in 3-4 years we had almost $10,000 saved for 3 years. And then I even forgot about this big lie that my father is going to add the same amount, because anyhow he didn't have the same amount in order to add it to us. So what happened is, through his light, we amplified it, we took it as granted, and we started saving, and it gave us a very good and wonderful push forward. And then it helped us to grow our first saved money, from which after 5 years after this lie, we were able to buy our first apartment and first property for $17,000, which long term in 3 years became $30,000 to $40,000. We sold it, we bought a land for $20,000 that today costs more than $500,000. So our investments, our saving mentality started because of a lie. And why I'm telling you all this, because a lot of us start regretting when we understand that a truth that we embraced long term, we realize that maybe it was a lie. And as you know, some of you, I am a Christian as a definition, though there are a lot of different understandings about what Christianity means, but I have a lot of friends that are, let's say, Jewish, that are Indians, that are different types of Asian religions, and some Muslim friends also. And when we look into our different religions, we all think that our specific religion is the big truth, and everything else is a lie. But when you see a prosperous Muslim who really believes and embraces his faith in his own personal God, and he has this type of religion very strongly, and it is helping him to succeed into the reality, does it matter if we label this as a lie or if we label this as a truth? Or, for example, if some of you enjoy secret societies, if you enjoy Masonic type of thinking or Egyptian type of Hermetism, and you're saying that everything else is just the surface and there is a very big hidden truth deep inside, and you need to seek it so much and only the hidden societies know about it, is it necessary to go so far and too far forward into seeking truths, where long term maybe it can be that this is not a big truth? And of course we can all ask ourselves, what is the truth? We know a lot about lies. Lies are all around us, but no one can give you a specific definition of truth. Of course, we know that Jesus Christ told through the scriptures that I am the truth. So he personalized the truth, that the truth is actually the human being, and what the human being is presenting outside of itself, this is what the truth is. So in a sense, it means the truth is subjective. It doesn't matter how and why we as human beings cannot define the objective truth. We are to understand the subjectivity of the truth. It is very important for us to realize the truth is very subjective. So who am I to tell you about your truth? I can tell you only about my lies, how I embraced so many lies in my own personal reality, and yet it helped me to move forward, to grow, because I was sincere and honest in my faith, and realizing that it is possible to kick me and to move me forward into the reality. And of course, all of us know that lies are very beautifully made to be believable. And some of us need this type of kick in order to start believing. Believing is a process that gives us the motivation to be moved forward and to really strongly start to put out our energy forward. And that's why maybe Plato was really strongly imposing that society needs the lie. Society doesn't need the truth. But paradoxically, we as society need wonderful, beautiful lies that are to push us forward into the impossible. And a lot of us sometimes realize that the so-called beautiful lies about life, about prosperity, about whatever else we think about, through the hope and through the imagination, we are able to make out of these lies amplifiers that are helping us to really move forward, to advance, to mature, and to long-term understand and realize that we as human beings are able and capable to move forward. So, when we speak about the lies, for me it is important not to try to defend my life lies, or to say, well, Alex, I know the truth and I'm going to fight for it. I'm going to defend my truths because they're so important for me. This is the specific truth and I don't care about all the others. Let them live in the lies. But what is important for me, because I watch a lot of different type of information that is contrary to my bubbles, contrary to my belief, and it helps me to stabilize myself and to know what exactly am I able to know, that maybe even if my faiths, if my beliefs in the moment are not 100% grounded on a truth that I can defend, that I can propose, and that I can really project to others, if for me it is working now, if for me it is giving me the possibility to improve and to move forward in reality, it doesn't matter for me personally if long term or if a lot of the societies are thinking that this type of truths are actually big lies. Because nobody of us even think about it, that maybe 99% of everything that we already have as narratives are a lot of big lies. And we even cannot understand that maybe when we look in the narrative in the Bible, where it is said that all the humanity problems came from the deception and from the lie that the serpent gave to humanity. Because when the serpent told Eve to eat from the garden's tree fruit, what happened then is that humanity believed a lie, and according to the Bible, it came to what we are today. A humanity that is striving, a humanity that is going through a lot of things, and yet long term we don't know if this big lie, as it is presented, is actually helpful for the humanity to grow, for the humanity to come to its next stage of awareness, its next stage of consciousness, and its next stage of being able to grow and to outgrow the so-called short-term lies. And for me this is very important, because when you look, for example, there are a lot of narratives of fights. There are so many blames. For example, a lot of Jews are explaining how Christianity is a big lie created from the Romans. There is a lot of fights explaining from Christians, explaining how basically the Muslim religion is a big lie, and it was created from different type of Christian scriptures, and it was all faked, and it was all helped and made from secret societies and so on. Also, there is a lot of attacks against the Jews, and that all the Jewish religion was actually copy-paste from a lot of Babylonian type of narratives. So let's just imagine that everything around us is just lies, and that no one actually is in a possession of truth. Does it mean that we cannot derive the small truths hidden within the lies, and that we cannot extract what is giving us inspiration? And for example, why don't we think about it? Why Eve and why Adam ate from this tree? What else did they need? Why they wanted to stretch forward and to be like the gods? Why they were not just thinking that it is enough just to be a human being that is not aware about the evil, that cannot make the judgment, and that is going to allow itself to know only the good? Why we the human beings prefer to go through the struggle, prefer to go through the obstacles, but to develop, but to mature? And that's why we are all knowing that when we go through hard times, when we make hard decisions, when it is difficult, then we as human beings are really becoming more, becoming and coming to our source and essence of existence, and it is really helping us to move forward. That's why when we are looking in the narratives of today's world, and it doesn't matter if you enjoy, for example, the Western type of narratives where we the West are the best and all the rest are just subhumans or sub-societies, or if you enjoy the so-called Asian type of thinking and the New World type of thinking where we want multipolarity, and then we are starting to believing another type of positions. There is propaganda behind all the narratives. There are hidden agendas behind all the narratives, and yet we are to extract only what is helping us in the moment, and to not be ashamed and to tell, okay, I believe in this and this and this typical and specific things about the Western civilization, and I like them a lot, and I enjoy them a lot. Or I like so many things about the Eastern civilization. I like so many things about how the new multipolar polar order is developed and how long term it is going to be more balanced. Anyhow, it is not up to us to decide how the world is going to be developed, what are going to be the new narratives. What is important for us is to know how to use any type of lies, to find the small, beautiful things out of them, and to use them to amplify our own personal realities. And for example, let me show you and let me tell you about another big lie that I'm in the moment using in my own personal reality, and maybe one day it is going to become a huge truth for me. But in a sense, it is helping me a lot to change my mindset. 2-3 years ago, I decided to embrace the mindset of a billionaire. So I decided to believe something that I'm not in the moment, to start moving into this direction, because in the moment, okay, in one sense we have a lot of type of different heroes. In the past, maybe to be a great warrior was something great. In the moment when we see the TV, when we see the propaganda, we see to be Elon Musk, to be Zuckerberg, to be different type of billionaires, it's a very cool thing. And let's say, Alex, you are very gullible, you believe everything, you go after different trends. But anyhow, I decided that I am able and I'm willing to give myself forward towards this type of service where I am managing wealth to such a way that long term I'm becoming a billionaire that is helping a lot of people to have a good and wonderful life, and I'm creating goods and services that are also profitable and are helping humanity. Well, Alex, in the moment for you, this is, let's say, a big lie, and maybe long term you are going to be disappointed when you understand that this is not the truth. But if from the beginning I know that this is a type of lie, this is a type of something cool today, but long term maybe it is not going to be cool, then what I realize is that I'm using this to empower myself to have a long-term strategy and vision about moving forward. And what is happening in the moment, let's say, my own personal equity is close to 20 million euro, and if I add some additional equities, maybe it is coming close to 30 million euro. But long term, when you have a very strong and big perspective about going so far away into the future, I am never satisfied. So I'm constantly striving, and then I live for a bigger perspective. Also, what is important to know is how we are putting ourselves into perspective, because this is giving us the ability to position ourselves long term and to never go after the small things, but to move forward with perspective during our daily reality. And for example, in the moment I have put a new type of thinking, and I'm uploading this into my believing system, into my faith system, into my hoping system, and into my truth system. Because truths are helping me to expand my belief and to create flows. So, long term, I enhanced myself into believing and having the identity and having the goal and the purpose to be living here on this earth 90 plus years. But when I make my actions, when I make my decisions, when I put my intent, when I focus, I have decided to have a 400 years perspective. It is not necessary, we as human beings, to make decisions that are 5 years forward or 10 years forward, or to have exit strategies that are going to be for 5 to 10 years forward into the future. What about exit strategies for 2, 3, or 5 generations after we are long dead? How are we going to make our decisions then? This is what is important to me, to stretch myself forward into everything that looks like unbelievable, because then I'm very well positioned to deal with whole type of limitation, because my perspective is not limiting me anymore. So I'm moving forward into new type of lies that are giving me a so broad and long-term perspective, because as a Christian, when I was new to the faith, I decided that I was not going to have any perspective, because maybe Jesus is going to come every moment. So we need to live for the day, we need to live for the hour, we need to live for the moment, because tomorrow morning maybe there is not going to be such a time. And yet now I'm 100% changing my perspective. I see that from the position that I'm now in, I want to move forward into the future, to planting seeds that are not for 5 years forward, that are not for 10 years forward, but that are for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds years forward into the future. So this is how I'm dealing with lies. This is how I'm using them to amplify my own personal reality, and I don't care how are the others around me going to define their narratives. The important part is all of us to embrace things as truth, to have faith, to move forward with hope, and long term it is not up to me or it is not up to you to decide if your truth is the beautiful, objective truth and everyone is just going to line behind you or behind me, because this is not the purpose. The purpose is for all of us to mature and to move forward through this reality in the most beneficial way for all of us, short term and long term. Of course, we are living our legacy daily, we are moving forward into the reality, but the more and more we are stretching out and we are escaping these loops of constant defense, of constant conquering, we are going to live a much more peaceful life, and we are going to enjoy each other's strives and beliefs, and we are not going to tell anyone, well, I'm superior, I'm Ubermensch, I'm superhuman, and you are subhuman. Because based on how all of us are positioned, there are different types of truths that are in these specific moments working for each one of us. I'm just sharing how I personally am dealing with lies, how I'm using everything that there is in our personal reality. And of course, long term, I know that the objective truth is not something that I am the guardian of. What I'm the guardian of is the subjective, personal truths that are specifically working for me to express them. And when we all of you communicate and embrace each other authenticity, then a little by little the objective truth is formed, as is helping all of us, the guardians of the objective truths, the guardians of the big macro cosmical laws, are not requiring from us to defend them, to propose them, and to project them into the reality. Everything we can do is to align our own personal humanness as much as possible with the objective reality, and then we are going to be doing very great in the 4 realms of reality, or the 4 positionings. We are going to be very strongly grounded, we are going to be strongly going into the light and the lightness of the air. We are going to be fiery because we were going to be able to put all our flows forward into the reality, and we are going to go into a very powerful and strong transmutational modes. So we are enjoying the fire, we are enjoying the grounding and the earth, we are enjoying the air, and also we are enjoying the water, because maybe the water doesn't need forms. It can stay in any type of form. It doesn't matter for the water if you put it forward, if you put it backward, if you level it. The water enjoys everything that is form, because the water cannot exist without a container. So this is all for today. Enjoy your own personal reality, and don't worry about if your truths today are going to become lies tomorrow. They are working for you now, They are shaping you, they are shaping me, and the important thing is to know that no one can 100% show you what the truth is. So enjoy your reality and move forward. Bye bye.